Hey, this is Al, and we're back at Brentwood Workshop. Today we're going to be working on business cards and making repeatable sets of them. So what we're going to end up with is something like this, off of a metal black business card stock. And this is some of the detail you can get out of them. And I'll get a little closer look in a second. These are what you end up with, something like this or this. This one here, the detail is just incredible. And that is basically on one of these metal business cards. So what I do when I'm making black metal business cards is I want to make a template to put them in so I can repeat the process. So we're going to make a square, we're going to unlock this, we're going to make the height, which is actually the width of the card, is the 2 1/8 inches. So 2 1/8 is 2.125, but we're going to add just a tiny bit extra just so the cards go in and out easier. And then our width or height is going to be 3.625, but we're going to make it 626. Okay, so that makes our business card. Then we want to make a finger hole to get the card out. And so basically you're just going to make a little, probably say a 1 inch by 1 inch circle. Unlock that. That doesn't really matter. So you make a 1 inch by 1 inch circle. You want to drag that to about the center. You're going to put those two together. You're going to click that. You're going to hit combine and unite. Okay, so there's our pocket. And then we want to fill this with these. So what you want to do is you want to move this up to the upper corner. And we're going to do a grid array. We're going to go 3 columns wide. We're going to do a 1/4 inch spacing with a 1/4 inch spacing. And then we're going to go 4 rows, and that fills us up pretty good. So we hit OK. And here is our, oh, that's not what we want. So if you move something you don't like, just hit undo. And we're going to pick this whole thing. We're going to kind of center it up in here somewhat. Move this down a little bit. Okay, so there's our grid of cards. Now when you want to repeat this, what you want to do is I put a little 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch and then we're going to flip that 90. And we're going to take, you're going to control and scroll the hand and move it over where we can see both pieces. Select, we're going to pick this. And of course it's going to be really difficult to move it once you make it. So what we want is we want a little crosshair. And then we're going to move this to a different color. I usually make green for scoring. And we're going to copy it. And we're going to move our picture to here. And then we're going to paste one. And somehow it wants to move everything. All right, we're going to paste this. Yeah, stay there. I don't know why everything wants to move here, but if you take your arrows on your keyboard, you can move that right where you want it. So we want one crosshair. Oh, that's what's going on. All right. Just so we don't have to deal with it moving around, we're going to hit group. I should have done that the first time. We'll take the other crosshair and we're going to move it right there. Well, I should bring it up a little bit. Doesn't really matter. It's just a reference point right there. Okay, so now when you're doing this and you take your pattern that you cut out for your template, you can take the crosshair to the laser, and once you set your template in, you can line the mark on the template up with the laser, and then it'll be set up every time. So you just slide your template over to where the laser is. It's squared up, and then I do two just to make sure everything is squared up good. So you would be able to do this. Just take this over and get it lined up on that one. And once you have both of those lined up, your template's ready to go in. That's what we got so far. And then what you want to do is you want to take the blue, you want to make that cut, and I'm using 1/8 inch, so I usually do 100 by 12. Oh, I can't seem to hit one key at a time. And I usually make that red for cut, which it did not do. All right, so those are red. And the green, we're going to make score. And I usually go 35, 100. And then when you run this, it'll cut this out and it'll leave those little score marks on your grid so that you can set it back in your laser every time you need it. Okay, so once we got everything cut out, this is what we end up with. This is our pattern, our template. And these are the crosshairs, so that if you take this template out of the laser, you can set it back up easily by taking your crosshair. And if you get your crosshair on here set up, it should correspond with the crosshair on the computer. When those two are lined up correctly, you're ready to go. And we just take our little business card and try not to throw it too far. And we just drop it down in the pocket. And when you fill that up, set it up on your screen and run them. The reason I make this a little bit smaller is for the overscan, so you can do higher speeds on your cards. If you did it all the way to the edge, it would give you a warning you need more space for the overscan for higher speeds. So I made it less cards. You can experiment with more cards and see what you end up with, but that's why I did it this way. Okay, we've got everything set up there. We've dropped our business card into this slot. So what we want to do is we want to take our laser, we want to bring it over to the business card, and we want to focus. And then we're ready to fill in our slots and make our business cards. So once we've got this all set up, we want to bring in our business card, and we have to import image, because if you have an open project, you're going to lose your grid. So we're going to take that, we're going to bring it in here, and we're going to bring it down and put it where we want it in here. Get it set up good, like that. And then we want to make that engrave. We're going to take the purple. We want to make sure we turn all the others to ignore. If you're still running your grid, you still want to have your grid up, you're going to have to hit ignore on those. And then you want to ignore that, so that the only thing we have left is is the black. And you're going to set that in your pocket. That looks decent. We'll zoom in to make sure. That looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to use user-defined materials, and we're going to use the black metal business cards that XTool provides the settings for. And we're going to hit run. Okay, the other note is when you bring this into your computer, this is going to be, obviously after you've made it, it's going to be a cut file. And if you set your cards in here and you rerun this template, it's going to try to cut. So you want to make sure you hit ignore on both of these, because you don't need to do those crosshairs every time you run this template. But if you hit ignore on both of these, then when you're ready to do an engraving, it's not going to try and cut or score. It's just going to do what you bring into the screen. So make sure that you click those to ignore and save it. That way you don't have it trying to cut the cards out after you've already cut them. Okay. So in conclusion, I made one mistake on the video on the width of the card. Instead of 3.65, it was actually a 3 3/8 card, so it would be 3.375. And then the 5 I would change to a 6 to give a little more space for the cards to drop in and out. On both measurements, I just added extra one. The speeds, XTool speeds provided were 20 power, 200 speed, and 80 lines per centimeter. I mixed those up a little bit. I added a little more lines per centimeter. It didn't make a whole lot of difference. These come out pretty clear with what they provided. So if you have a different machine, I would do a test grid, make sure, but those are a starting point. And if you like my videos, like them, share them, or subscribe to them. Yeah, one of the two. I'm not an actor, and I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. If you like what you see, check out some more videos. Thanks.